Hello, guys. It's your boy Jack, and today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. Today we're going to be doing a history about Canada, so you guys can know what happened during the World War. Um, so this video, just going to show you guys what happened. So here we go. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen with y'all, and then this is going to be a bit of a history thing today, guys. It's not going to be really much of a. It's going to be a video, but not like a real video, but. We're gonna learn why does Canadians go ballistic in war, and we're gonna show you guys. So, if you guys can see my screen, that's great. You guys can also
go ballistic. Why do Canadians go ballistic?
All right, guys, here we go. Just gonna test one thing. Gonna test the audio.
Why do Canadians go ballistic?
All right, guys, here is the video in 3, 2, 1. It might get laggy, but here we go.
Why do Canadians go ballistic in war? Though, avoid them at all costs, because for some strange reason, these usually calm maple leaf lovers go absolutely ballistic when there's a war on. Trench raids. In World War I, the only thing scarier than going on a trench raid was to be on the receiving end of a Canadian one. Soon after their deployment, the Canucks earned a fearsome reputation as enthusiastic and innovative practitioners of this brutal art. To maximize stealth, they were known to blacken their faces and to wear thick rubber gloves.
Oh, you guys! We were actually prepared for the winter, so, and the other country wasn't. They froze to death.
They also brought along with them a variety of handmade weapons to optimize their killing effectiveness, such as spiked clubs, knives, and brass knuckles to allow them to take out enemies silently. Alternatively, pipe bombs and grenade catapults were used if they preferred to go in guns blazing. On operation, the Canadians tore through trenches so quickly and with such cold-blooded efficiency that by the end of the war, they were able to reach up to 1 kilometer behind enemy lines. Their speed and ferocity earned them.
All right, guys. Also, too, we didn't take Germans hostage because once they surrendered to us, we just shot them.
The nicknames from the terrified Germans ranging from stormtroopers to wild colonials. The savage determination of the Canadians was most on show in the 4 months leading up to the Battle of Vimy Ridge, where they conducted 55 raids. The most disastrous of these happened in March of 1917, involving over 1,300 soldiers, despite suffering an appalling 43% casualty rate and being constantly gassed. One group of raiders was able to clear a 450-meter section of the German trench. Killing prisoners of war. When they weren't going on deadly nighttime raids, the Canadians—
This is what I was talking about earlier. Listen to this.
Could usually be found slaughtering prisoners of war. Shockingly, in World War I, the murder of German POWs was actively encouraged by some commanders. Before the attack on Vimy Ridge, for instance, one soldier recalled how an officer told him, "Remember."
Oh, yeah, guys. Also, right here. So these are the Canadians. We're the blue Canadians. We're the blue ones, and the Germans are all the red ones. So we actually went through the actual German trench, and we basically won. So look,
no prisoners. They'll just eat your rations. Having to share already limited food supplies was just one of the reasons why most preferred to shoot rather than capture. But the most powerful justifications were revenge and battle rage. In a typical account, one lieutenant would recall how, after losing half of his company to machine gun fire, his surviving men rushed to the battery that had caused the damage to find the Germans inside crying and with their hands up. Unmoved, they proceeded to mercilessly bludgeon and shoot them to death. Another would relate on one occasion, a German rushed to one of his comrades with a bayonet, but then chickened out and surrendered. In his own words, our boy would have none of it. He lunged at the German again and again, who each time lowered his arms and stopped the point of the bayonet with his bare hands. The German was screaming for mercy. Even if a surrendering German somehow survived his initial encounter with a wild colonial, his life was still in great danger. In this regard, one veteran would remember how he once witnessed one of his fellow Canadians turn a German POW into red mist by dropping a live grenade into his greatcoat pocket. Live and let die. During World War I, soldiers carried out an unofficial live and let live policy. This was an unspoken agreement in which both sides agreed to only attack each other if ordered. The most famous example of this in action was the unofficial 1914 Christmas Day truce, in which thousands of combatants from both sides exchanged gifts, sang carols, and mingled with each other for a few hours. The next year, though, the Canucks were on the front lines, and unlike their allies, live and let live was not in their vocabulary. Among their number were the troops of the 3rd Battalion, who were stationed in the Ypres salient on the Western Front. In the spirit of the previous year, voices from the opposing trench wished them a happy Christmas, and some of the friendlier Canucks returned the greetings. After a couple of minutes, men from both sides had raised their heads above the dugouts, and an older, whiskered man was invitingly waving a box of cigars. Moments later, a Canadian sergeant ruined Christmas by dispatching 2 Germans with his machine gun. Of course, this wouldn't be the last time the Germans of the Great War were tricked into a false sense of security by their heartless North American foe. In one particularly cruel episode, Canuck troops tossed.
So, right here, the Canadians would actually throw cans of food, and then once the Germans were distracted, the Canadians actually threw grenades afterwards when they were distracted with the canned food. But Germans got tricked. So this is what happened.
Tins of corned beef into a German trench.
It was corned beef, actually, and then Canadians threw it in, and then once the Canadians were distracted, we threw a live grenade and killed everyone.
Then, when they heard their requests for more, they lobbed grenades at them instead. As the stories so far have illustrated, for some reason, Canadians went absolutely bananas in World War I. But why were they so angry? Some historians have argued their ruthlessness was an emotional response to a battlefield rumor about the so-called crucified Canadian, an officer who was supposedly crucified to a barn door near Ypres. Others have speculated their thirst for revenge drew from their traumatic experience at the harrowing 1915 Second Battle of Ypres, during which Canadians took the brunt of the first ever German poison gas attack of the war. The best explanation, however, may be the simple fact that Canadians were brutalized more than any others because they were always being placed in the first wave of attacks. Juno Beach. By the close of the Great...
This is very important to listen.
The Canadians had gone from a relatively unknown fighting force to one of the planet's most feared and respected military outfits. It was with this hard-earned reputation that they would enter the killing fields of World War II to face off against a German army reinforced by elite units with a strangely familiar name, Stormtroopers. On June 6, 1944, the Canadians reminded everyone of their elite status when they pulled off what's considered one of the most tactically successful operations of D-Day. Their objective was to storm Juno Beach and then seize the cities of Caen and Bayeux with 14,000 soldiers and 1,000 paratroopers. During the first wave, 3,000 lion-hearted Canadians rushed towards German pillboxes, taking heavy casualties. They were then followed in by tanks, which obliterated most of the casualties. 3,000, 14,000 soldiers and 1,000 paratroopers. During the first wave, 3,000 soldiers and 1,000 paratroopers. During the first wave, 3,000.
Oh my God! Hold on, guys.
1,000 soldiers and 1,000 paratroopers. During the.
So I was gonna pause right here, but I kind of failed. So right here, all the blue is all Canadians. Like the red are basically the British, Americans did not make it all the way through. But our Canadians actually went through, literally, and that's how we won World War II. And there is a little bit more to go. So if you guys have some questions, let me know after. So we're gonna continue this so you guys can listen.
First wave, 3,000 lion-hearted Canadians rushed towards German pillboxes, taking heavy casualties. They were then followed in by tanks, which obliterated most of the German beach defenses, allowing infantrymen to swarm in and begin close quarters fighting. Impressively, it took them less than 2 hours to secure their first route off the beach at the small town of Courcelles. By the end of the day, Courcelles-sur-Mer, Saint-Aubin-sur-Mer, and Colombier-sur-Soleil had all fallen, and the tank regiment of the 1st Hussars were at the Cannes-Bayou highway intersection, making them the only Allied unit on D.
Okay, see right here, Canadians D-Day. We literally obliterated D-Day because this is basically how far they went. This is how far they went. But look at our Canadians actually went all the way through to the end because the Americans couldn't, or I think it was the British or the Americans actually couldn't make it because there's a big massive hill that was like at least like a mile steep high, and they couldn't make it up. And basically you can see here that these are Canadians decided to go ballistic in World War II. So
D-Day to actually reach their final objective. The Devil's Brigade. In World War II, the Canadians distinguished themselves not only as dependable infantrymen, but also as skilled commandos in a joint American-Canadian unit called the 1st Special Service Force, better known as the Devil's Brigade, or the Black Devils. The Devil's Brigade was formed in June 1942 and had only accepted individuals into its ranks who were already well acquainted with survival and the outdoors. As a result, former skiers, parachutists, hunters, lumberjacks, trappers, and game wardens made up the majority of its personnel. These hard and rugged men were transformed into killing machines via a brutal training regime that involved 100-mile speed marches and specialist training with all sorts of weapons, explosives, and vehicles. To strike fear into their enemies' hearts on the battlefield, they placed a calling card on the dead, emblazoned with the phrase, "The worst is yet to come," in German. The Black Devils were assigned the most dangerous assignments, with one of their most iconic missions taking place in December of 1943 at the mountain peak of Monte la Defensa, southeast of Rome. For about a month, multiple British, Canadian, and American assaults attempting to dislodge the Germans at the top had been wiped out one after the other. By the time the Devil's Brigade arrived on the scene, Monte la Defensa had been battered with over 200,000 shells, earning it the nickname the Million Dollar Hill. At 1:30 a.m. on December 3rd, carrying 60-pound rucksacks as well as knives, guns, and bayonets, and with charcoal-blackened faces, 600 men of the 1st Special Service Force began climbing up the near vertical cliff face.
we actually managed to fight in the not really fight, but we managed to survive the winter because Canadians are used to the winter.
Fog and swirling snow enveloped the mountain. A little before 6 a.m., they reached the summit and began quietly slitting the throats of sentries. Then, all of a sudden, a rock slide gave away their position and the enemy opened fire. The fighting was intense and both sides suffered heavy losses, but the battle-hardened Germans were eventually expelled. In a mere 2 hours, the month-long standoff had been ended by a force that was 10 times smaller than the combined Allied force that had up until then failed to take Monte la Defensa. With a little help from the Americans, they had shown that once again, that to mess with a Canadian in wartime is to sign your own death warrant.
So that's why you don't mess with Canadian armies, because our Canadian will basically go ballistic what they did in World War One and World War Two, which you guys seen. So if you guys like that video, make sure you guys stay tuned for more videos coming soon. There is going to be a new feature update coming this weekend, actually sometime this weekend. they're gonna be coming back with the new car. The Crown Vic is coming back, so is going to be coming back actually. So we're gonna be saying goodbye to the car that's gonna be here, which is the you know what? It's just Mano. Just let me show you actually. Let me just show you what I'm talking about here. So if I go and share my screen with you guys, let me share my whole screen. And if I go over to Roblox, or if I go to Discord, if I go over to the Discord, just my friend, don't worry about this. But if I go here to our to the Discord, you can see that they're going to be coming back with the Crown Vic. So you guys can see, you guys probably saw this already. You guys probably haven't. You guys probably did. You guys probably haven't. But look, this is the 2000 Crown Vic now. So this is the new model of it. If we go over to the website, to PRC website, into their Twitter page, we're gonna see that the card's gonna come back with possibly some more details and stuff, so more features. But this is the only teaser that we see for now. So this is the only teaser we have for now until nobody knows how long. There might be advertising more stuff later on in the year or later on in the update, but I know there's going to be a DOT update coming, and there's going to be more features coming too. So if I remove this, you can see that there is this. It looks like it's the police station, I think. Let's go see where this is, guys, in the game. Actually, let me actually go over to ERLC. And I'll show you guys where this actually is. I know where this is. So it's right by the police station. So I'll see you guys where exactly it is. This right here, guys, is my little stress ball, which I just... This spot actually would be at the police station. There's a sign there. Maybe it's somewhere else. Parts of the city or something. Different parts of the city. I'll see you guys in my next video. Coming very soon. So stay tuned. I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace out, guys. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Peace.